before you ever looked into the eyes of a lover, you looked into hers. Before you knew desire, you knew dependence. Before you sought beauty, you sought safety. Your mother was your first universe. She fed you before you knew hunger. She held you before you knew fear. She spoke to you before you understood words, and still, you understood everything. This is why Freud called the mother the original love object, not in the romantic sense we understand as adults, but in the primal sense. She was the first source of comfort, security, and identity. Your infant mind didn't know women, it only knew her. And from that moment, without your consent, a template was formed. Every woman you would ever meet would be measured, unconsciously, against this first figure. Her warmth or coldness, her praise or criticism, her availability or absence. And so, the path was set. If she was nurturing, you may forever seek that same gentle safety in your partners. If she was distant, you may pursue women whose distance feels familiar, not because it's good, but because it's home. This is the hidden blueprint. It is not about whether your mother loved you or failed you. It's about how the emotional climate of your earliest years imprinted itself on your nervous system. The way she looked at you, spoke to you, comforted you, or didn't, became the invisible standard by which you unconsciously judge every woman you meet. Some men find themselves chasing women who echo their mother's best qualities. Others are locked in a lifelong battle to fix, win over, or redeem the emotional mother they could never quite reach. Either way, you are not starting from zero when you enter a relationship. You are walking in with the ghost of the first woman you ever knew. And until you see this, until you face the fact that your type may just be your template, you will keep repeating the same patterns in different bodies. Freud's most infamous idea is also the one most misunderstood. When he spoke of the Oedipus complex, he wasn't writing about some crude, literal desire for one's mother. He was speaking about the emotional and psychological entanglement that shapes every man's inner world. In Greek myth, Oedipus kills his father and marries his mother, not out of malice, but out of ignorance. He doesn't know who they truly are. And that's the point. We often love and fight without understanding the deeper forces at play. In Freud's view, the young boy experiences two things at once. Desire for the mother, not sexual in the adult sense, but a craving for her exclusive love, care, and approval. Rivalry with the father, as the figure who has her attention, affection, and alliance. These impulses collide, and society, morality, and the boy's own survival instincts force him to repress them. But here's the catch. What is repressed doesn't vanish. It hides. It mutates. It slips into the unconscious, where it begins to influence adult relationships. The child's first love object is the mother. His first hate object is also the mother. Freud. A man may spend his life chasing women who make him feel like the cherished boy in his mother's arms, or fighting with partners as if reenacting that old rivalry with his father. Sometimes both. The paradox is that the mother is both the source of comfort and the source of frustration, the one who gave and the one who withheld. In modern life, this shadow plays out quietly. You want your partner to adore you like a mother, but you also resent her for having that power over you. You admire her independence, yet secretly wish she would revolve her world around you. You fall for her passion, but pull away when she directs that passion toward someone or something else. The Oedipus shadow is not about literal incest. It's about the emotional blueprint of longing and rivalry that you carry into every relationship. And until you bring it into the light, you'll keep mistaking old wounds for new love and fighting old battles with new faces. Every man begins life in a state of total dependency. Food, warmth, safety, touch. All of it comes through one source, the mother. When that source is consistent, loving, and attuned, the boy learns that the world is safe and that he is worthy of care. But when that source is unpredictable, absent, or conditional, something else forms deep inside, a hunger that never truly goes away. This is the mother wound, the gap between what you needed and what you received. And it doesn't disappear with age. It mutates into something you mistake for romantic love. The loss of love and the loss of a mother's protection are the greatest sources of anxiety in a child's life. Freud, if you had a mother who was emotionally distant, you may now crave women who are warm, nurturing, and endlessly available, trying to heal that old emptiness. If you had a mother who was overprotective or controlling, you might find yourself chasing independence, yet paradoxically pulled toward women who recreate that same dynamic. Either way, your relationships become a search for emotional home, a home you never truly had, or fear you might lose again. This is why some men stay in toxic relationships. The drama feels familiar. The pain feels like proof of passion. The cycle of pursuit and withdrawal mirrors the emotional rhythm of childhood. In myth, Orestes avenges his father's murder by killing his own mother, only to be haunted by the Furies. This mirrors the psychological truth. You can rebel against the mother's influence, but if you do not heal the wound, you will be haunted by it. The mother wound turns nurture into need, a need so deep that you confuse it for love. You're not always choosing the woman in front of you. You're chasing the mother behind her. And as long as that wound is unacknowledged, every relationship becomes less about her and more about feeding the boy inside you who's still waiting to be held. You think you're choosing freely. You believe you're drawn to certain women because of chemistry or shared values. But often, you are chasing a ghost, the shadow of your mother. Freud understood that the mind doesn't just store memories, it stores emotional patterns. And when those patterns go unresolved, they become the unconscious criteria for attraction. This is projection. You take qualities, nurturing or neglectful, gentle or harsh, from your mother, and unconsciously assign them to the women you date. Sometimes it's accurate. Often it's fantasy. You might meet a woman who is independent, confident, and warm. But in your mind, she's not just herself. She is also the echo of your mother's warmth, or the promise of the warmth she never gave. Or maybe she's emotionally unpredictable. And instead of seeing it as a red flag, you feel drawn in. Why? Because that unpredictability feels like home, the same emotional rhythm you grew up with. The man who has been the undisputed darling of his mother keeps for life the feeling of a conqueror. Freud. Projection turns women into stand-ins, not fully loved for who they are, but for the role you want them to play in your unfinished story. And substitution ensures that you keep casting them in that role, whether they fit it or not. Historically, even Freud's own romantic life reflected this truth. He openly admitted that his wife, Martha, bore traits that reminded him of his beloved mother, Amalia. To Freud, this was not coincidence. It was inevitability. The danger is that projection blinds you. You don't see her. You see the emotional hologram of the first woman you ever knew. And because you're not relating to the reality in front of you, disappointment is guaranteed. Until you recognize that you may be dating your mother's shadow, not a real partner, you will keep mistaking old needs for new love. At first, it feels perfect. She's attentive, affectionate, maybe even nurturing in a way that quiets something deep in you. You think you found her, the woman who will both love you and heal you. But then, the shift comes. She's tired. She has her own needs. She stops tending to you with the same intensity, or she refuses to take on the role you've unconsciously assigned her. And that's when the collapse begins. Because here's the unspoken truth. You didn't just want a partner. You wanted a mother and a lover in the same body. And that's an impossible demand. No woman can permanently be both. When she leans into the mother role, caretaking, comforting, protecting, the erotic spark often fades. When she leans into the lover role, independent, sexual, passionate, the maternal safety disappears. This contradiction tears at the relationship. A man who has been spoiled by his mother expects all women to pamper him. Freud. Some men respond by withdrawing, shutting down emotionally when their partner doesn't meet the motherly expectation. Others respond with anger or resentment, accusing her of changing or not caring anymore. But in truth, it's not that she changed, it's that the fantasy broke. The mother trap creates a relationship built on a dual role no partner can sustain, and when she inevitably fails to be both, the disappointment feels catastrophic, not because of her, but because of the old wound it reopens. This is why so many breakups feel like childhood all over again. The loss of warmth, the loss of safety, the return of that primal ache. And yet, this collapse is also a gift, because it exposes the trap you've been in. If you can see it for what it is, you can stop expecting your partner to be your mother and start relating to her as the woman she truly is. The mother trap is not broken by finding the right woman. It is broken by becoming the right man, one who no longer needs to outsource his wholeness. This process has a name: individuation, a term Carl Jung used to describe the journey of becoming a complete, autonomous self. It's the separation of your adult identity from the parental influences that shaped you. Individuation begins when you see the trap clearly. Your partner is not your mother. She is not here to heal your wounds, read your mind, or regulate your emotions. That was your mother's role, and it ended decades ago. He who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakes. Carl Jung. Breaking the bond means self-parenting. Learning to give yourself the comfort, reassurance, and structure you once depended on your mother to provide. It's building an inner stability so that love becomes a choice, not a survival mechanism. Practical steps. Identify the pattern. Notice when you're reacting to your partner as if she were your mother. Seeking approval, fearing abandonment, or demanding caretaking. Create emotional separation. Remind yourself She is not responsible for your inner child's needs. Build self-sufficiency. Cultivate friendships, purpose, and routines that don't hinge on her presence. Set standards, not demands. Love her for who she is, not for the role you want her to play. When you achieve emotional sovereignty, relationships shift. You can appreciate affection without depending on it. You can handle distance without panicking. You can love without losing yourself. Individuation doesn't kill romance, it deepens it. Because now, you meet as two whole people, not as a parent and a child reenacting the past. And that is the only ground where real intimacy can grow. A man who has broken the mother trap walks differently. He no longer measures a woman's worth by how much she comforts him. He no longer mistakes dependency for devotion. He no longer seeks to be mothered in order to feel loved. This is the new masculine, a man who can love a woman as she is, without trying to make her into someone she's not. In this state, attraction is no longer about healing an old wound. It's about mutual growth, shared vision, and truth. Maturity is the ability to break free from parental influences and become one's own person. Freud, the new masculine, understands. Self-soothing is his responsibility, not hers. Boundaries protect love from collapsing under unrealistic expectations. Intimacy thrives when both people remain whole. He doesn't chase the high of being taken care of. He builds a life where care flows both ways. He doesn't fear a woman's independence. He respects it because he has his own. He doesn't crumble when she disagrees. He listens, discerns, and stands firm. In mythic terms, this is the man who has left the maternal shore and sailed into his own waters. He may still carry the memory of that shore, but he no longer longs to live there. Like Will Hunting in Good Will Hunting, he comes to understand it's not your fault. The wound wasn't your choice, but the healing. That's your responsibility. And when a man reaches this point, something shifts in his relationships. He can now choose a partner not because she fills a hole in him, but because she adds to the life he's already filled. That is the essence of loving without the mother trap. Not dependency, not role-playing. Just two whole people, free to choose each other without the ghosts of the past pulling the strings. Now the pattern is visible. The shadows are named. And the first woman you ever loved, your mother, no longer rules from the unconscious. You see it clearly. Every girlfriend, every crush, every heartbreak was filtered through the blueprint she left behind. Sometimes it drew you toward nurturing arms. Sometimes it pulled you into familiar chaos. But always, it was the same invisible script. And now, you can lay the script down. A man who has become independent of parental influence has truly come of age. Freud, this is not about rejecting your mother. It's about releasing her from the role she's played in your love life long after childhood ended. It's about allowing the women in your life to be themselves, not stand-ins for the first woman you knew. You are no longer a boy searching for the safety of a mother's embrace. You are a man, capable of building his own foundation, giving his own approval, meeting his own needs. And in that strength, love changes. It becomes a choice, not a craving. It becomes an exchange, not a rescue mission. It becomes deeper, because it's no longer tangled in the roots of your childhood. So remember, you are not the wound. You are not the boy waiting to be seen. You are the man who has learned to see himself clearly, completely, without condition. She was your first love, but she is not your last, and she no longer shapes the man you choose to be. Like, share, subscribe. Somewhere another man is still stuck in the mother trap, and your clarity could be the key that frees him.